Hello everyone, I'm Martina,
And I'm Lukas.
and today we're presenting the current situation of the Sudanese civil war.
We hope that you enjoy our video and have fun watching it. The Sudanese civil war, a violent conflict that erupted in April 2023 between two military factions, the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF), led by General Abdel Fattah el-Burhan, and the Rapid Support Forces (RSF), commanded by Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedi. This war is not just about power struggles in 2023. It's rooted in Sudan's long history of conflict dating back to the First and Second Sudanese Civil War. These battles of control of resources, governance and political power have left a lasting legacy, creating a fragile state on the brink of collapse.
To understand today's war, we must first look back. Sudan's history is marked by prolonged conflict, especially the Second Sudanese Civil War, which lasted from 1983 to 2005. This war was largely fought between the northern government and the southern population over issues of governance, ethnicity, and religion. After decades of bloodshed, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement was signed in 2005, leading to the eventual independence of South Sudan in 2011. While the CPA was supposed to bring stability, Sudan's internal issues never fully healed. Conflicts in Darfur and the Nuba Mountains persisted, and in 2019, Sudan saw a military coup, which set the stage for today's conflict.
The current conflict began in April 2023, after tensions between the SAF and the RSF erupted into violence. What began as a political rivalry soon escalated into full-scale fighting, centered in Khartoum, the capital city, and surrounding urban areas. As both military factions battle for dominance, the situation has quickly spiraled out of control. Civilians are caught in the crossfire, with thousands dead and millions displaced. The conflict highlights a deeper issue: Sudan's fragile state, its inability to provide basic security or meet the needs of its people, leaving the country vulnerable to internal strife and external interference.
To understand the current conflict, we need to apply some political theories. Sudan is a clear example of military autocracy. Both the SAF and RSF are military forces, meaning power is concentrated in the hands of generals rather than a civilian government. This lack of democratic processes creates instability, as power struggles between elites become the primary concern, not governance for the people. Sudan also fits the definition of a failed state. The inability to manage internal divisions, control territory, or provide basic services illustrates the fragility of the Sudanese government. This weakness allows armed groups like the SAF and RSF to exploit the state's lack of control, further destabilizing the country. Another key aspect of the conflict is resource-based competition. Both factions are fighting for control of Sudan's wealth in oil, gold, and other natural resources. Instead of using these resources for development, both factions exploit them to fund their military operations, exacerbating inequality and violence.
The root causes of this war lie in competition for resources and a power struggle between Sudan's military elite. Oil and gold have long been central to the country's economy, but rather than benefiting the people, these resources have fueled violence. Both the SAF and RSF seek to control these assets, which has led to further violence. Another factor is the ethnic and regional divisions. Sudan is home to diverse groups, and throughout its history, certain regions, like the South and Darfur, have been marginalized. The SAF and RSF have different ethnic and regional support bases, and the conflict further increases these divisions, turning what could be a political dispute into an ethnic and regional battle of survival.
As the fighting continues, the humanitarian impact grows. Tens of thousands have lost their lives and millions more have been displaced, either internally or to neighboring countries. Critical infrastructure has been destroyed, worsening food shortages, medical crisis, and access to basic services. This devastation has created one of the worst refugee crises in the region, with neighboring countries like Chad and Egypt seeing an influx of refugees. The international community has been urged to intervene, but peace efforts have largely failed as the military factions resist outside influence.
The future of Sudan is uncertain and dependent on how the conflict evolves. In the short term, the violence is expected to escalate further, with both factions refusing to back down. Sporadic ceasefires have failed to hold and peace talks have stalled, meaning civilians will continue to suffer. The war could spread to more areas, worsening the humanitarian crisis and destabilizing the region. Looking at the long term, Sudan faces the risk of prolonged instability. Without a major shift in the political landscape, the country could remain mired in a protracted civil war. However, there is still a possibility for peace. International pressure could encourage the military factions to engage in real peace talks, but this will require a new framework that addresses the underlying resource competition and ethnic divisions. The international community, including the United Nations and regional powers like Egypt and Ethiopia, will continue to try to mediate. But without domestic reforms and a commitment to democracy, peace may remain elusive. Ultimately, Sudan's future will depend on its ability to rebuild state institutions, resolve power struggles, and equitably distribute its resources, which could prevent further conflicts and pave the way for stability.
In conclusion, the Sudanese civil war is a tragic reflection of a country struggling with political instability, military autocracy, and resource-driven conflict. The power struggle between the SAF and the RSF, coupled with Sudan's historical divisions and lack of effective governance, has plunged the nation into chaos, with devastating consequences for its people. The path forward is uncertain, but peace is possible if Sudan can overcome its deep-rooted issues. International pressure, alongside domestic reforms, could pave the way for a more stable and democratic future. However, without addressing the core issues of resource control and ethnic divisions, lasting peace may remain out of reach. The future of Sudan lies in the hand of both its people and the international community. For the war to end, both military factions must be willing to compromise and put the welfare of the people first. Until then, the suffering will likely continue, and Sudan's journey toward peace will remain fragile. This is it. We hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching.